Hey everybody, welcome back to the Velocity Podcast. It's me, Velocity Pete. Today I've got two guests with me. We've got Lisa, the Executive Director of Velocity, and Eric, a Director of Brand Management. If you wouldn't mind, just give me a little quick overview about yourselves and sort of your experience with Amazon.
Hi, this is Lisa Zaydell. I've been with Velocity Sellers for over 7 years, and I have been working on Amazon for almost 16 years.
Wow, that is a lot of experience on Amazon. No wonder you are the Executive Director. And Eric?
My name is Eric Peterson. I'm Director of Brand Management here at Velocity Sellers. I've been here for about 3 years. I think I've been on Amazon for 6 years. I have a master's degree in marketing and always eager to learn something new. Amazon's changing all the time, so that's what makes this whole thing very exciting and a lot of fun.
Ain't that the truth? Well, that's actually exactly what we're here to do today, is just talk about a little bit deeper about one of Amazon's biggest programs, probably one of the most beneficial ones that they offer, especially to new sellers, really only to new sellers. It's going to be talking about the Amazon Vine program. So we really just wanted to start out by getting into a little bit of what exactly it is. Like, what is the Vine program? How can people take advantage of it? And you know, what are the steps to get enrolled? And like I said, just really benefit from using the Vine program. So, Lisa, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick overview of what it is and sort of like a quick, like if you were pitching this in an elevator to someone, like, hey, you should use the Vine program. This is what it is.
Yeah. So the Vine program should be used on every new product launch. New products start out with 0 reviews, and it really will affect your BSR. So we recommend utilizing the Vine program, where Amazon will send your product out to Vine reviewers. We don't know who they are, but they're quite lucky because they get to see new products coming out on the marketplace. And they will review your product, and that review then gets posted to the product detail page. It is not a guarantee of a positive review. We have done Vine and we've had some negative reviews as well. Mm-hmm. And so you really want to do Vine on your best products and represent your brand as best as you can.
You mentioned BSR and sort of how reviews affect that. What can you tell me a little bit just quickly about like what it is BSR is and really how reviews kind of play into that?
Absolutely. So BSR is your best seller rank, and it's the calculation that the Amazon algorithm uses to rank all products on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And the lower the BSR, the higher your product will rank on the product search page.
So you want to be like the number one. You want to have a number one BSR, and that's broken down by category, right? So you want to like say if you were like the number one, if you had the number one BSR in t-shirts, you're like the best seller of t-shirts on Amazon.
Correct. Kind of thing, right? And okay. There is actually every category on Amazon has their top 100 list. And so you can see ranked by BSR in every category, the top 100 products for that category.
Talking about reviews and how they affect your BSR, how exactly do you think they fit into negatively or positively affecting your BSR? Like, are they super important? Are they like kind of important? Like, where on the scale would you put them?
There are many factors that go into the BSR ranking, and we don't know the weight of those factors. However, at Velocity Sellers, we feel that reviews are extremely important. That will also increase your conversion rate, because not only does it affect the Amazon algorithm, but it also conveys a message of trust and quality to those shoppers that are searching on Amazon.
So it sounds like reviews are super important. And if that's the case, you know, I imagine this Vine program isn't just like a free handout that Amazon would give you of what is free on Amazon. What are the requirements that a seller would need to get into Vine? Like, what are the basic things that they can or can't do? Are there any products that are restricted? And what do they need to really get started to get these reviews and increase their BSR?
Well, to kind of just piggyback on what Lisa was kind of saying too, is that it doesn't necessarily impact BSR directly in
Mm.
like my opinion, I guess. What it does do is, like, when you're a shopper, when you go to Amazon to search your product, and if I remember right, like most shoppers start on Amazon when they're buying. I think it's like, what is it, like 60% of all shoppers start on Amazon
Mhm.
before they go to like Google. So when I'm going to Amazon, I'm going to buy something, right? Whatever that is. It doesn't matter, flashlight or a pen or whatever. So everybody starts the same way. You go to the search bar, you type in what you're looking for, and then boom, you have Amazon search. Those search terms are indexed, and like now we're seeing what products are ranking highest with their BSR from that index term that you just searched. So the
Mhm.
top one outside of a sponsored ad is going to be, BSR of 1 or whatever to that search term. Now, when you're looking at that, you're going to see reviews. You can clearly see, here's a pen, here's a pen, here's a pen. They're all pens, right? If you're
Mhm.
just looking for a pen, and each thing is going to show the ratings, right? And rating, and so here's another thing. So, like, a rating is a review, but a review is not a rating, if that makes sense. So, a
Mhm. It's like the
review is a
rectangle and
rating.
squares kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so a rating, they're all ratings. So if a
Mhm.
customer leaves a rating, which means they left a 1 to a 5 star without writing anything, that's a rating. A review
Mhm.
is you rate with a 1 to 5 star and then say, I really like this product or I really hate this
Mm.
product. So,
Okay.
rating review, right? So just some jargon there for you. But when you're looking, going back to search, you're gonna see, like, I like this zebra pen. It's one of my favorite pens. I've had this zebra pen, the F301. I'm gonna do a call out to Zebra. They're fantastic. You're going to see that the pen that you like or whatever might have 15,000 ratings
Mhm.
versus something that has like 300. So think of that. So if you're a seller on Amazon and you are trying to break into the pen industry without using a program like Vine to help you get some of those reviews, you're going to be reliant on early adopters. Early
Mhm.
adopters are going to be the people that buy. They're going to be the ones that are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to risk it all. I think this looks great. I'm going to try it, And so those are a very small portion of your shopper. So what your goal here is to get to 0 to 5 reviews, like that, or that 0 to 5 reviews, excuse me, is that, like, the bad spot. 5 reviews
Mhm.
or more is sort of that tipping point where the common shopper is going to be like, hey, you know what? It's got 5 reviews. It looks all right. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to try it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's very important to get your products into the Vine review program as soon as you can. So going back to your original question, what does it take? So you can
Mhm.
enroll products in the Vine program. There's a new system that just came out, but I'm not going to go over that quite yet.
Mhm.
But originally, it's supposed to be you can enroll up to 30 products, which means you're giving those products away for free for
Mhm.
Vine reviewers to choose from. Okay. And it's going to cost $200. So the formula here would be cost of good times 30 plus 200 is your cost to enroll in Vine. And now, if you
Mhm.
go back to what I was just kind of mentioning, is that cost is, I mean, it's a lot of money. It can be, right? If your product is a
Yeah.
$100 product, costs you $100, it can be very expensive. But it's very, very important to get those 5 reviews as soon as possible in order to make some sales.
Mhm.
I think I'm
Mhm.
answering your question, Pete, but I'm kind of being a little bit verbose and going on a tangent here. You need to rifle me back in here, or are we going in the
No,
right direction to answer your
I
question?
love all the extra information. I really do. That's pretty much exactly kind of cover what and really brought up a lot of new topics as well. It's really interesting to think that you can, yeah, like you're spending the $200 to enroll, an ASIN or a product, and you're only getting maximum 30 reviews. But thinking about it, like how invaluable are those reviews to your, later down the line, building your brand, and like Lisa said, like building the confidence in people saying, like, I feel confident about purchasing this. I feel like I hear that a lot. That the Vine program, is it really worth it? Like $200 for 30 reviews? Like you see companies out there that have like 15,000. I think the most I've ever seen in my Amazon career was like 150 something thousand reviews or ratings. Eric, as you said. But so what is that to 30? But to getting, for people getting started, those 30 reviews are invaluable, right? Like you would say, you need those, like you just said, you need at least five. So I think the Vine program, the opportunity cost of getting those reviews and like at least like you said, the confidence greatly outweighs that cost. I don't know if you both would agree, or if you have any examples of people saying like, I don't know about the Vine program, and then they decided to do it, and then they saw great results from it. I'm sure it's really hard to measure results from the Vine program, but if you have any specific examples, like I said, of people just really seeing great success from using this,
I'm
we
trying
can
not
take
to
that
talk
up
over
really
you,
fast,
Lisa.
Amanda.
If you want to go?
I would say, Eric, you go on that
Okay.
one. Because you have
Okay.
more up-to-date experience than I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
So I would
that
say,
sounds good. So what like it's important to do it, and like to kind of
Hmm.
like go back to what you kind of just said, Pete. Like you enroll 30, right? You can enroll up to 30 products. You can enroll 20. You can enroll 10.
Hmm.
You don't have to go all 30. But the like the parameters of the program is that if you have 30 reviews already, you're ineligible to participate in the Vine program. But if you have a product that's just kind of slow going, and maybe you only have 10 reviews, and you just really want to kind of get even more, you can enroll that product that already has, and pardon, I'm misusing reviews as well. So if you already have 10 ratings, I should say, um, you can enroll, the 30 if you want, and then try to get to that 30 review or the 30 ratings. That's fine. So Amazon will kind of stop the program once you reach that 30 ratings. Um,
Hmm.
that's like the key. So you're gonna spend $200. You only get one chance. So every single ASIN only can be enrolled in the Vine program one time, period,
Hmm.
ever. So if you're like, you know what, the cost is a little high for me right now, $200 plus the cost of my goods, I'm only gonna do five. Well, you're not guaranteed five ratings from enrolling just five. you're
Hmm.
you're just basically giving away 5 units plus $200, and then you got your fingers crossed that you're hoping that the Vine reviewer is going to leave a review, because I've had times where they don't leave reviews. So out of a typical product that I put in Vine, I'd say a win is 40%, right? If you have food products, everybody loves food products, right? Like seasonings or anything like that,
Hmm.
everybody loves that stuff. You can almost get close to like 100%. I'm not saying that it's it's rare. I've had like 30 and 30 units enrolled, 29 reviews. So I'm that one Vine reviewer
Hmm.
decided not today, right? But everybody else decided to participate. But I've also seen like Vine review stuff go in, or like when you enroll into Vine and the Vine reviewers don't even like your product. If that happens, that's a problem, because those people that are in the Vine review program are experts in their category. And if nobody takes your free product, that should be a 5 alarm fire that maybe you need to adjust your product.
Hmm.
Or it's so niche that nobody knows what to do with your product that you might even have to start to kind of figure out how to market to that niche. That niche
Hmm.
you might be paving the way and creating that niche. So you might have to go back to the drawing boards and try to kind of figure out how to remarket that product. But so
Hmm.
getting back to it, you can enroll a product that has less than 30 ratings. You can go up to 30 products to get those 30 ratings. The Vine charge will be the $200 charge, will be, I believe it's 7 days after the first person picks one of your products. So you don't get charged immediately. It depends on
Okay.
when that person or the first Vine reviewer picks your product. And then if I remember correctly, it's 90 days. So you have 90 days for your Vine
Hmm.
reviewers to select your products and give you the reviews. Otherwise, the program, that's the cutoff. So you either the Vine reviewers pick all 30 of your products, or 90 days. Whatever's sooner, that's when the program
Hmm.
stops for that selection.
And you don't have to send these anywhere special, right? They kind of just take. Do they take them right out of your FBA inventory if you're using FBA?
Correct.
And if you're
That
using, can you enroll in Vine if you're using FBM?
I don't believe so. Lisa, do you have a confirmation on that?
Yeah, so if the strategy is to keep that ASIN as FBM,
Hmm.
we still do suggest sending in the Vine units, allowing them to go through the process, and then converting that ASIN back to FBM. So that's it. Still can be utilized, and you would just have to do a little additional work to
Hmm.
convert that sale back to an FBM sale.
So yeah, so they want them in FBA to send them out to the people, these holy sacred Vine reviewers. I actually looked into doing trying to do that myself back in the day when I first learned about this. It's like I get free stuff or just leaving reviews. That's great. But it's a really it's a really lengthy process to be a certified Vine reviewer. You got to leave like some like 100 reviews on stuff. They really got to like you got to have like a bunch of people find your reviews helpful. It's so this isn't they're not you're not just sending Amazon's not just sending your products to some Joe Schmo. This is a certified Amazon person. Um, so that I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat that they again like these people are giving unbiased, honest reviews. And Eric, kind of like you said, if they come back and they're bad, it's sort of like like you got to like kind of rethink what's going on there.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the Vine reviewers are sort of like the experts in that category, like we kind of just mentioned. So, like a couple of things with what you just said, Pete. Like, if nobody picks
Mhm.
your product, you got a problem. If the Vine reviewers pick your product and you get 1 to 2 star ratings, that's also a problem. Normally, there's like an unspoken rule that they're taking your product for free, so they're usually going to be pretty nice. They might leave you a
Mhm.
3 star rating, but say like it's not my favorite. Like a Minnesotan grandma saying that she doesn't like your pie. It's not my favorite. So like you're looking for 4 to 5 star ratings on this. When it's a 3, it's
Mhm.
usually means that it's like the Vine reviewer didn't like it. Anything below that, there could possibly be a problem. But
Yeah.
also to go back to Lisa's strategy. So if you're planning on just doing seller fulfilled, but then you're going to do, hey, I'm going to jump on this Vine program. So I'm going to add an FBA listing just to participate in the Vine program and to like get those reviews. And then I'm going to flip my SKU back to fulfilled by merchant. And then I'm just going to, ship out my warehouse. So I
Mhm.
advise that if you do that strategy, which is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing strategy, what I would advise though is not just send 30 units because those units are active and live on Seller Central. So like if you do have an amazing product, if you have, let's say you have new chips or any sort of food, new seasoning or something like that, the early adopters on that, people love to try new things, so they're going to kind of buy that a little faster than they would, let's say, I don't know, a
Yeah.
microphone or
Something
something. Who knows?
expensive.
I'm
Yeah.
just like looking at stuff around. But like I would highly recommend that you ship in like 45 units because what ends up happening is if a customer actually purchases your product and so if you only send in 30 units and then a real customer purchases your product before the Vine reviewer takes that unit, now you have units that are like you don't have that unit available for that Vine reviewer. So it gives
Yeah,
you kind
you're
of a
out
little
now.
bit of a buffer. Oh, sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I was agreeing with you. Yeah, like you're out now. So yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
So I mean, you could send 30 and then all of a sudden somebody, one customer buys 10 units and now you have that 10 unit gap that should be going to the Vine reviewer. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
then now you have to ship in and now you only have 90 days, right? You have 90 days from that first person picking a product. And if you sell out in its fourth quarter, you're probably not going to get your shipment into FBA until January, and now you just missed those like 10 or 15 or whatever you're short on those Vine reviews.
Yeah, the opportunity sales there definitely would be diminished just by missing out. You're right. That's good. I didn't think about that. So if you when you're a new seller, right, you have your product ready, you're ready to go. I've heard of this strategy where before you even send in your first FBA shipment, not you don't even have any inventory on FBM or there's no inventory on FBA. There's something I heard this where you send in 30 like immediately, and you don't even the product's not even launched yet. Like this, like you can know how you can set the start date for an ASIN. The start date is like a week or so away, or like a month or so away. Um, you send in 30 units, you enroll them in Vine, and then they still get taken. And that way, when you are ready to launch, you already have those 30 or so, maximum 30 um, free reviews. And that way, again, like you get that boost. Is that something that you think would that be good for new sellers to do? Is that viable? Like I said, I know that's just, I don't know if that's sort of like a loophole that's kind of cheating the system, but sending in the product before it's even launched on Amazon and then submitting it, to the Vine program.
That's a great strategy. And we also recommend that you might want to um, add additional information in those 30 units about your brand or about the product itself. We've even heard of sellers adding a handwritten note, a thank you note to those Vine reviewers for doing what they do. So it is an opportunity to communicate uh, directly with that reviewer. Um, Obviously, we stay in terms of service, but a handwritten thank you note is okay.
Mm. Interesting. So you saying like, so if you're, again, going back to t-shirts, where you phrase that example, the whole cast. But if you're sending t-shirts in a bag and, they get picked up by a Vine reviewer, you write something in like some sort of, not necessarily a present, nothing to write to incentivize a good review. It's just saying like, hey, thanks for being one of my first customers. Here's, some sort of maybe a coupon. I don't know if that falls within terms of service, obviously, but just something to say thank you. Like that's something that that's allowed. Like Amazon says that that's okay.
Yes, that is okay.
Hmm.
And we also sometimes look at the packaging that we're sending in, and so if that T-shirt is just in a poly bag, we want to make sure that you're representing your brand in the best way possible. So it should be folded nicely. It should
Hmm.
have hang tags. It should have everything in it. So that the presentation when the Vine reviewer opens it up is the best that it can be.
Nice. That makes sense. I was kind of building off of that. Eric, you manage a lot of brands. You're the director of brand management, and I wanted to get into a little bit about your content and as it relates to the Vine program. So I know we talked, like Lisa, you just said like you want to present your brand, well, and you want to show off to these people that are getting it for free. Um, would you say that content affects the Vine program? Like, does having good content affect the Vine reviews in any way? I know that that's not easily measurable, but just sort of in like a broad statement, would you say that that does that?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. The customer experience is just as important as your marketing materials, your verbiage, everything.
Mhm.
Like when you buy something, and everybody buys things, right? Where like, what's that
Mhm.
experience when you start to open that, right? Like that's part of that customer journey. So if you have something in like a brown paper sack and you hand it to your buddy, you're like, here, I got you something. That's like, oh, thanks for the brown paper sack gift. Or you can hand them a nice wrap present, and then as they open the present, maybe you sprayed some perfume on the inside of the box, and so they're getting, you know, some perfume, and then you open it, and then maybe there's a little bit of, some verbiage on the backside of the package, and then it's got some, candy in there and stuff. Like that's all part of that presentation. Like whether it's, the extreme example of a sack lunch versus like a nice beautiful present or whatever, but it's the same
Mhm.
thing. So like when you get a package in the mail from Amazon, like how does that come? Like you can feel the cheapness, or you can feel that extra mile. You can like feel that, and it brings you like a happy, thoughts or whatever. And so like if you're opening the package and you receive that package and you have the product in your hand and it's nice and it's great and whatever, you're going to be more incentivized to leave that better review. Like we said
Mhm.
earlier, Vine reviewers, they're experts in their field. They're getting free products all the time. So like they know what a good product, what's a bad product. And if you're not keeping up with the rest of your niche or your market, then you're going to get a bad review, or you might not get a review at all. So I guess to answer your question, yes, it's very important. Now to
Mhm.
go back to a little bit of like what Lisa was saying too, like you can write like a handwritten note, but and then if we use Pete's strategy as well, where we set the future offer date. So that's what Pete's talking about. So when you go to your
Mhm.
listing, you hit the edit listing button under offer, I believe. Go scroll down, it'll say future offer. uh, start date. So that's what it is. Future offer start date. You can set that, and what that does, it's going to temporarily close your listing. So if you do that strategy where you write a handwritten note, you've put 30 units in bind, you have a future start date that's 14 days out. I encourage you to not address the Vine reviewer, because if you don't
Mhm.
have all of your Vine reviews taken in those days and a regular customer gets that product that has a note that says,
Mm.
"Thanks, Vine reviewer," they're going to go, "What's this? That seems weird." And now that could actually lead to a negative review because it looks like we're doing a little something, fishy or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
what I would suggest is just say, "Hey, thank you, my blood, my sweat, my tears, my heart. This is my brand. I thank you. You're one of my first customers. You're beautiful. Thank you. Love, CEO of the company or whatever." So
Mhm.
I would go that route instead of addressing the Vine reviewer directly. But at least it looks like you
Yeah.
got something on your mind.
Oh, one of the other tips that I have is to be sure that your title and your description are done
Mhm.
before you send the product into Vine. For example, I had a backpack that was specifically for hiking, and Vine reviewers were assuming that it was a backpack used for school, and they're very different. And so we did get some reviews that were not ideal because the Vine reviewer took that product thinking it would be a school backpack, and it was really not meant for that. So be
Mhm.
sure that your title and your bullet points and your description are all there, so that the information that shows to the Vine reviewer is what will help them make the right decision and on what products to choose and review.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was actually hoping to again. I know we talked about this earlier, but I brought up the idea of like sending in the products before your set start date. But like you just said, Lisa, you need to have descriptions and images, right? I mean, there's no way you're going to get a good review when you don't have any of that set up. So definitely, especially again, like you said, descriptions. You want to make sure that they know what they're getting, um, and the images showing them like, hey, this is how you use it, that kind of thing.
So, like, to follow up with that, that's just good practice. So you always want to have a good description. You want to have a good bullet points. You want your titles and everything like that. So
Hmm.
that's just the best practice. So never ever create your new listing, your new SKU without having all of that up front. So like don't think that you need to rush to get to the
Hmm.
vine. Like make sure that your listing is solid first. So that's number one, right? For your the marketing materials need to be done so that way, your vine reviewer, treat your vine reviewer like a customer, right? Because they are like
Hmm.
the top tier customer in your niche. So you want to have the presentation for them the best you can. But to also kind of piggyback on this, and this might be an entirely different discussion, but we have had in the past where we do placeholders for a title, where we might say something like, um, zebra pen, and then we go like
Hmm.
then we create the listing, and then we go to update the listing with our search terms and all that stuff, and maybe more descriptive. Maybe it's like zebra F301 black ballpoint pen, blah 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 blah, whatever. Well, now the Amazon data gets corrupted, and now you have all sorts of errors, and it takes you 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to get that fixed, and that's going to cause major delays on your launch. So
Hmm.
be sure to make sure that like before you're launching, and before like if you start working a Vine strategy into your launch, you want to hit, you make sure you have those milestones, build those milestones into your launch strategy. So if you're going to be doing beginning product research or whatever, development, R&D, whatever, make sure that you have your listing created, then Vine, then launch your product or whatever your
Hmm.
strategy is. But just make sure that you set yourself up for success right away at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. No, I completely agree with the, like I said, like you want to get that head start early, but you got to make sure that you're ready to start running, even though if you're trying to get a head, even though you're still trying to get a head start. looking kind of, I know we talked this already, like sort of like divine reviews aren't always going to be positive. And just for any reviews really, is there a way to dispute these? Is there a way to sort of say to them like, oh, like a typical customer service, like in a brick and mortar store, you bring their product back, you say, I didn't like this, like, oh, let's give you a refund, or let's, oh, like let's, give you store credit or something like that. On Amazon, obviously you can't just do that. You got to ship it back, and or like they might not even want to do that. They might not deal with it anymore. Um, but is there a way to go through and say, say to these people that leave these bad reviews, even if they're a Vine reviewer, hey, sorry you didn't like our products, is there anything we can do better? Is there a way to dispute these and sort of almost even maybe change their negative reviews?
Unfortunately, Pete, there isn't. We don't know who they are, and we're not able to contact them. And that's why we recommend sending in the full 30 units, because it gives you the opportunity. If you get one or two reviews that are not ideal, hopefully when you send in the 30, the average will still be 4.5 and above.
Hmm.
So we really recommend, if you only send one or two in, and one of those reviewers had a bad day and they gave you a negative review, then you're really kind of out of luck.
So like for these Vine reviews, or any review really that comes in, obviously they can be positive or they can be bad. They can be positive or negative. They can be good or bad. Um, is there a way for us to, if we get a bad review and we want to try and dispute it, like Lisa, like for example with the backpacks, if someone put like 20-pound weights in the backpack and it just fell right out the bottom, like that's not or they use something outside of the intended use, and they leave a bad review saying my backpack didn't hold like 100 pounds of weight, or anything like that. um, is there a way for us to reach out and say, for any seller really, to reach out and say, hey, like, how can we help with your customer experience, or give them possibly a refund, and not, I don't want to say incentivize them to change their review, but is there a way for us to maybe sort of fix the negative review, maybe even dispute it? Go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to
Sorry,
let
I should have
Eric do
said your
it.
name. We can start with
I was going to
either
let
one.
Eric do it since he's the pro here.
Eric, any
Okay.
thoughts on that?
Yeah. So yes, you can. So if
Mhm.
so let's do it this way. So all of the Vine reviews have to follow the terms of service of Amazon. So like if for
Mhm.
whatever reason this Vine reviewer is going to take their day out on you, right? They had a bad day, they're going through a divorce or whatever the problem is or whatever, and they decide they're just going to just burn it to the ground, right? And they start swearing at you or something in the review, that's against Amazon's terms of service. You can get that removed. But if that Vine reviewer is, still trying to burn it down, they're being like, very precise on their wording and stuff like that, and they still give you a 1 star, let's just even call it three-star rating and below, you can still follow the Amazon customer review process. Okay, so then if you go into your Amazon seller account, you're going to hit the little hamburger on the top left corner. It's going to drop down. You're going to go
Mhm.
under, I believe it is, I'll do it right now just to make sure I'm saying the right thing. You go under brands and you're going to go under customer reviews. And so when you go there, you're going to be able to see, you can sort and filter or do whatever. You can even throw in your ASIN specifically of which one you're looking for. And anything that's 3 stars and under, you're going to notice on the far right hand corner, contact customer. You hit that contact customer, you're gonna get two choices most of the time. It's gonna say courtesy refund, contact customer. In this case, you're not gonna give a courtesy refund because they got the product for free, so you're gonna want to
Mhm.
contact that customer. When you hit that contact customer button, what's gonna show is that Amazon is gonna populate just like a canned response. That canned response is going to be sent to that customer. So in this case, the Vine reviewer, it's going to go into their message center in their Amazon, consumer, Amazon account. And then under that, I think you just, it's like, oh, what is it? Like up and by your name and drop down, you can see your messages. If they decide to respond to that message, that'll come into your inbox on your Seller Center account. And now you can just, do a regular customer interaction, start that dialogue. You can't, there's terms of service. You can't be like, hey, change your review, I don't like it. That's not acceptable. You got to reach out and be like, hey, how can I help you? Like, what's going on? And take this moment too, because you are the manufacturer, you are the brand. If a customer doesn't like your product, you should find out why. Because if they have a reason, or if the review doesn't really state why they don't like it, maybe it smells funny. Maybe it was a bad batch. Maybe it cracked on the way to the shipping caused some sort of destruction of the product, or maybe they're misusing it. There's all sorts of different reasons, and all of those reasons are going to be wonderful for you to find out, for you to improve your product on the next round of production, if it's something that you can be proactive about. But going back to
Mhm.
it, just say, hey, I noticed that you didn't like our product, or hey, I didn't notice that, whatever, what can I do to help you? Make sure that you're following those customer service, the terms of the TOS. um, but it's a wonderful resource for you to find out what's going on with your product.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I would have thought there would be some way to say like, "Hey, Amazon sort of, not dictates, but Amazon sort of fills in the gaps, right, for when you're messaging a person." They say like, "Oh, this seller's reaching out to you," and kinda thing, that kinda thing,
Um,
so yeah.
Real quick, they used to
Mhm.
allow it. They did okay, so they
Mm.
they didn't allow it. Then they allowed it, so that you could actually go to your product detail page, scroll down to your reviews and ratings, and then you could actually reach out to every single customer. And as you can probably tell, there was a lot of toxic behavior with that
Mhm.
sort of freedom. So if a customer comes in and they leave a rating that's like, "Hey, it didn't fit" or something, there were toxic sellers that might go, "Well, you're using it wrong," you know, or they're blaming the customer. You got to remember, on Amazon or in business in general, it's never the customer's fault. It is your fault. If the customer is using your product wrong, you did not provide them with the correct information. If the product tastes bad, well, you probably made a bad tasting product, right? Like, if it's consistently messaged that this equals X, then X is your problem and you need to fix that problem. It's never the customer's fault. So you got to realize that. So again, going back to it, Amazon, I don't remember, Lisa, if you remember, but I think it was like in 2021 maybe, and I think they shut that down within like 6 months, because I think it was those sellers were being pretty mean to some of the customers, leaving bad reviews. So it was interesting. So that's why they gate it the way they gate it.
Yes, I think I've definitely had some clients that did that in the past. For
Yeah,
sure, absolutely.
yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to mention to you, Pete, is that 9 out of 10 shoppers on Amazon, or really on the web, use reviews to make a decision. And it's better to have even a 3.5 star review or a negative review than to have 0 reviews.
Mhm.
And so statistics have shown that having just reviews in general is better than not having them. And I think one of the reasons why is because sometimes in a negative review, there can be information that is provided in the written comments that might say, okay, I'm not using it for that purpose. If we go back to the backpack example, and they'll make that purchase anyway. And
Mhm.
I think on Amazon, the liberal return policy that they have, I think it does allow for early adopters and for people to take a risk when the item does not have, a lot of reviews. I think that they feel very comfortable to try a new product because it can be returned.
Absolutely. I know I hate to say it, I think I'm one of the the one of the 10 that doesn't really factor in reviews. I guess I really should, when I buy things. I kinda just look at like, "Oh, like this looks like I'd like it." And then half the time I guess I get it and I don't like it. So I really should be looking at reviews. But sort of speaking on that, like using those reviews, correct me if I'm wrong. You can use the reviews, like the actual text that people wrote. Can you use that anywhere else outside of like the review section? Like, can I take that and put it in like a infographic or something like that and be like, oh, like, and use, if they leave an image, like use like their image that they sent, and or even like one of your own images, and say like, as reviewed by someone, like this product's great. It really helps me hike. Like, as going back to backpacks, is that possible to use the Revine reviews or any review really elsewhere, or does Amazon frown upon that? Eric looks like he has something he wants to add. Now, I will say
It is
before we even answer this question,
it's
I
definitely frowned upon. It's against terms of service.
really?
So There is like if you try to sneak that into A+, it'll get rejected, right? So
Wow.
like they want like the reviews are the reviews where they are like that. It's already on
Mhm.
your product detail page. Don't waste your real estate. You have very limited real estate to provide a value proposition of your product to make that conversion, right?
Mhm.
So a review from you know, Pete is not going to convert, like
Gee, thanks.
convert a seller or a consumer. Like
Mhm.
showcasing a feature or a function or something that's going to provide value or educate the consumer for them to make a better buying decision. That's going to be the
Mhm.
secret to success because the review's already there. You just got to scroll down, reviews there. But now when we go back up to the top of the product detail page, you got 6 images, one video. That's really what everybody's going to see. You might as well use that for more, more conversion and features and educating the customer instead of making sure that they see this 1 5-star rating from a stranger on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Let the consumer process. You know what I mean? Like the consumer's going to come to your listing.
Mhm.
They've clicked your listing. So like at the beginning, when we started talking, everybody starts the same on Amazon. You come to Amazon, you type in what you're looking for in the search, and now you've picked that product detail page out of thousands. I mean, maybe even hundreds of thousands of products, right? So the customer is interested in your product. And I believe, Lisa, I think you've mentioned in the past, I think people, what is it, 6 seconds on a product detail page? Is that correct? Is that what you said? It takes 6 seconds or something like close to that for a buyer to make the decision. So what is going to make that conversion? Is that going to be the value proposition of your product, or is that going to be the customer review? Because like once the decision is made that I'm going to buy this, they're most likely going to scroll down and just confirm what they've already decided based on reviews, or they're just
Mhm.
going to take that 6 seconds and be like, okay, it's got 15,000 reviews. I like it. Buy now. I'm out of there. They
Mhm.
spent 6 seconds on your product detail page. So I guess going back to it, it is against terms of service, but don't try to sneak anything in because you can use your real estate a little bit better.
So another thing I see, and actually I've done in my own practice, Amazon practice, if you will, is where I have my example is candles. So I had a candle guy that had scented candles, and he sold 6 different flavors. What I did was when I enrolled him in Vine, I enrolled the parent ASIN, and that way the Vine. Now, does that make more sense to do than enroll each individual ASIN? I feel like that allowed the Vine reviewers to pick which of the 6 scents they wanted, and allowed them to really have the freedom to say like, okay, I want this scent. I'm going to leave a better review because it's the one I picked, rather than just listing one of them and saying like, all right, well, I like the other scent better than this one, but. Going back to it, what are the strategies and the ways to enroll a parent versus a child ASIN? Lisa, do you have any insight on like what is the strategy? Both of you, really. Both. What is the strategy to enroll a parent versus a child, and what kind of briefly, if you will, what is the difference, and why does it matter one way or the other which one you should enroll?
Um, okay, so if we think about this, you have 30 opportunities to get 30 reviews
Hmm.
in per ASIN, but you can also do it by parent variation. So like in the so just for clarity for everybody, every ASIN is called a parent, but but once you've made a variation, they're now children and not parents. I know that's super confusing. So think of it like this. Think of it, you have an Easter basket. Your Easter basket is your parent ASIN, and then you put your eggs in the basket. Okay, that basket it doesn't really kind of exist. It's just kind of like building, putting all of your children into the same listing. So that way, when you go to the product detail page, you have different options, right? So that would be the
Hmm.
basket. So you can enroll. Let's say we're dealing with T-shirts. So let's say they're blue T-shirts, and so you have a small, medium, large, extra large. So you have 4 children that are in that Easter basket, so to speak. So like if I were to delete my parent listing, those 4 listings are like by themselves. So we're going to put them together. So now if we enroll that one parent, the Easter basket, so to speak, you get 30 units of the 4 children, if that makes sense. I might be making this very confusing. So what I'm trying to say is this: if you have ASIN XYZ, which is just by itself, one blue shirt, extra large, one shirt, you can enroll that one extra large blue shirt to 30 units for $200. So then a Vine
Mhm.
reviewer would come in, they would have options for 30 different Vine reviewers to take that one blue shirt for $200. Or we go to a variation where we have the small, medium, large, extra large, and then you can enroll only 30 of those four sizes. So a Vine reviewer could take, one or like five Vine reviewers could take a small, 5 could take the extra large.
Mm.
So you have the choice. But here's the thing is when you put them in a variation like that in that basket, you're only going to get up to 30 reviews. If you like leave your shirts, so the small, medium, large, extra large by themselves outside of the variation, you can enroll each one of those shirts and go for a total of 120 reviews. So if it's the moment that you put them in a parent variation, you only get 30 units total. That's locked to that parent. But if you keep them out of the parent, then you have individual ASIN opportunities. So it's really going to depend on what your product is, what you want to do. So like with shirts and stuff, it's going to be weird because like if let's say you have I don't know, like an extra small or an extra large, those two opposite sides of the spectrum, right? There's going to be less opportunities for Vine reviewers because there might not be very many extra small people. There might not be extra
Mhm.
large people, but your sweet spot's going to be your medium, large, extra large, right? That's where most people buy their shirts. So you could decide that since there's not going to be as many people buying the extra small or extra small and extra large, you could potentially do the variation or the parent variation with the 30 and then go for the 30 just because if you enroll your extra small, you might be spending that $200 and you might lose out, right? Because there's just like people might not just buy, or there might not be any Vine reviewers that are interested that are extra small. It's just very niche is what I'm trying to say. So with that example, you can kind of decide if you want to go the route of doing the parent or not. I'm in favor all the time, 100%. I will say, do not do the variation. Always do the singles, because even if you have an extra small, or like if you're doing extra small, medium, large, or whatever, you're still going to maximize the amount of reviews. And again, going back to like brand building, this is just like the day one or whatever of building your brand. You're going to be on Amazon for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You might as well and put the investment in, spend the $200 per ASIN and the 30 units and get as many reviews as possible to start building that velocity as early as possible. Because the more reviews that you have immediately, you start to get more consumers buying that product. More consumers buy that product. We're going back to Lisa. That BSR starts to get lower, like golf. We want to be on the first page. That organic ranking from those purchases now keep fueling that organic rank. You still start getting a better BSR and more people buying the product, more opportunities for more reviews. So the moment that you can get to that tipping point of your product, whether that's 5 reviews, maybe 10 reviews, whatever that is, it'll start to just snowball and you're going to start building your brand a lot faster. So I'd always advise that if there's a system in place like there is Vine, that you enroll as many products and as many individual products as possible to maximize that 30 product review
Mhm.
potential.
So I think I got that. Let me make sure I
Yeah,
have that clear. You are suggesting that you don't enroll the basket, you enroll the eggs.
correct.
So thinking back, it's like sort of taking in your Easter basket example. Of course, why would you want 30 reviews when you could have 120? Now, again, you are paying that extra 200 per ASIN, but again, like we said, that opportunity cost of having those 30 reviews and then when you group them back together becomes 120 is astronomical. Just listening to both of you talk about reviews and BSR and your ranking, I can't imagine. It sounds like $200 is a steal. To be perfectly honest with you, it just seems like if you can get those good reviews, especially 30 of them, right off the bat, it seems like the Vine program is, like I said, it seems like it's a steal. those reviews just seem to be invaluable to your success. And like I already said, you're going to be on Amazon for a while. No one goes on Amazon and say, I'm going to sell for a year and then call it quits. You're going to be on there for a while, so you might as well invest in a program like the Vine program to really help you get hit the ground running and almost get like sort of a head start on your traction and on your sales. So, well,
And then
with that, yeah, go ahead.
sorry to jump in a little bit here. So I guess like in short, when you decide that you're going to do the Vine program part of your launch strategy, or whenever you're going to, whenever maybe you just have some slow movers and you want to get some reviews there. So you have a choice. You can either enroll the individual ASIN, or you can enroll the entire variation. When you enroll the entire variation, you can choose. So like in the back end, when you go to Vine, it's under advertising, Vine, and then the top right-hand corner, you're going to click create Vine promotion or something. It's like a little green button. And then if you add something that has a variation, it'll bring a drop down, and you can actually hand select from that variation which items that you want to actually enroll. So if you do have the shirt option, which we just kind of covered, which is like, the extra small, medium, large, extra large, whatever, you can enroll just the medium, the large, the extra large, and then see how that turns out. Now, during that variation, you're not going to be able to, like, if you're like, you know what, I want to get the extra small and the small, I want to add that to Vine. You cannot add that to Vine now because you've enrolled that parent. What you can do is you can pull those two out of the variation, your extra small and small, remove them from the variation. Now they should be eligible by themselves. So then you can enroll those if you would like. So there's different ways to kind of like make sure that you're maximizing your potential. But you just got to remember though, like, don't think that you can say, I'm going to just test the water with this one ASIN. I'm only going to enroll 5. Once you've enrolled it once, it's game over. That ASIN can never be eligible ever, ever, ever again. You can use the system to your advantage by removing some ASINs from the variation and then getting those and then building that variation back. So when you do a launch, what I recommend is to leave everything out of a variation at first, get your 30 Vine reviews for each one of those ASINs, and then once those Vine reviews have come in, then I would group them up into the Easter basket analogy. And then you're off to the races, because then they'll normalize on your listing, and then they should all add up. So everything will look like, when you go on that listing or the product detail page and they got 100 reviews, it'll show 100 reviews on whenever you click a product. Lisa, go ahead.
So one of the things that we're seeing in the last 12 months with the Vine reviewers is that they're also doing video content as well as multiple images on the review. So it's been amazing. It seems as if maybe Amazon has done some coaching to those Vine reviewers, or maybe they're incentivized to add additional content. But I think it makes a huge difference in the purchasing decision if there's additional live photos or a video that is a user content driven video.
Interesting. I know, yeah, like I would imagine the reviews with pictures and even videos are a lot more helpful to customers and a lot more sought after, desired by brands. I would assume that just really, I guess, shows exactly kind of what you're getting, and really feeds that, again, like that unbiased, honest feedback of the Vine reviews. I want to thank you both for being on the show, for giving me and everyone listening some new information about the Vine program they might not have had, and also some new strategies for them to use as they begin their Amazon journey. And any final remarks on the Vine program or just reviews in general from either of you? Lisa, if you want to start.
It is essential part of any launch strategy that you have. You must do Vine. We don't consider it optional. And I think that the financial investment is definitely worth the gain in reviews and rank and conversion.
My final thought here is this, guys. Don't be scared. Go ahead and just jump in there. Like, get into Vine. Again, it's in the little hamburger drop down to advertising. It's right there, Vine review. Go in there. You can read. There's an amazing, Amazon provides all the information that you need there. I think there's a little like, hey, read more about Vine. The little help URL there at the top. But it's just kind of experiment. You can go in there and kind of just poke around, see what there is to see. Give it a try. The only thing that like once you hit the final button, then it's final. So don't do that. But like poke around, see what there is to see, and see what you got that's eligible and all that, and just try to come up with your own strategies based on kind of what we discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. And one place you can learn more about the Vine program, I know Velocity Sellers is a great article on their website about it. So that'll definitely help you get more educated if you still need anything else from after this. On top of that, again, just want to thank you both again for being on here, and thanks again for sharing your information.
Thank you, Pete.
All right.
Thank you.
And then this is where the jazz outro plays.